Hello Bishes, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing another comic draw with me because I apologize, recently I've gotten really busy at work, so just killing two birds with one stone has been easier for me as of late, so I just get an Instagram comic done as well as a YouTube video. But I've always thought it would be interesting to just show my workflow to creating the comics that I post on Instagram, so here it is. Anyway, speaking of being busy at work, the topic of today's video is going to be about should you leave your job to pursue art or doing your own thing? I feel like I get asked this question a lot just simply because I'm pretty active on social media. I post comics on Instagram, I post videos on YouTube, and I just do all sorts of other things online as well. It's kind of like I have an alter ego where I go to work in the daytime and then either super early in the morning or at night I am doing my social media stuff as well as working on my graphic novel. So honestly, I don't blame anyone who gets the perception that I either am doing all of this social media stuff full time or I'm currently in that in between where I'm still working but also trying to build my social media so eventually I can spread my wings and fly away. So to answer anyone's question about if I plan to eventually leave my job to pursue my own thing or if I am doing that already, I'm not, and I currently don't plan to. So I am currently working in the animation industry as an assistant director, and prior to that I was a storyboard artist. I still do a lot of storyboarding in my job still, so it sometimes doesn't feel that different, but at the same time it's nice to gain some leadership abilities. However, I don't envision myself really leaving the industry anytime soon, but I still do want to keep growing and doing stuff on social media as well, in case if in the future I change my mind. For anyone who's currently in the midst of also deciding whether or not if they should leave their full-time job to pursue art or just some other path that they wish to be on, well, I, first of all, am not really the best person to be asking this just simply because I have not taken that action. But I think that it's important to ask yourself and be real with what it would be like when you are doing that thing that you wish to do full time. And for example, in my case, it would be doing social media such as Instagram and YouTube full time. So the thought has definitely occurred to me before just simply because I do post a lot on social media, and while I was doing that, I was also working a full-time job, and as I was growing on different platforms, it was something to definitely consider because I was starting to get sponsorships and monetized on YouTube, so it does provide an option if I decided to pursue this seriously. However, I was still in the middle of just starting my career in animation, and I still kind of am to this day. I don't really feel like I'm a veteran. I still feel like I just graduated yesterday and I just started. So there are things that I've thought about, and I even thought about what it would be like if I did pursue social media full time, and there were things that I did and didn't like about it. So I've always kind of been someone who is just very to myself. I prefer to work alone. I was a lone wolf. I prefer just being independent and just getting things done by myself. Working in a team was never really one of my strong suits. And while I was very independent, and I think that is a great trait to have, I think that the next level on top of that is interdependence, where you can really learn to work together with other people and communicate your ideas. And while that is something that seems like easy to do just by saying that, it really isn't, especially if you're someone who's an introvert or if you're shy and you're not really used to just getting to know a lot of new people at different times and learning to work with a lot of other people. That's not something that I was born just knowing how to do out of the blue. That's something that I've really had to teach myself to get used to and grow into. So in a way, I feel like working in an industry where there are just a lot of people that I can meet all the time continues to really challenge me. And while it does feel uncomfortable in the moment sometimes, and I want to kill myself whenever I'm talking to someone at a lunch and something awkward happens, I still feel like those experiences are necessary. And I feel like if I did pursue social media and just sat at home all day, despite the fact that we've been doing that this whole past year, I just feel like I would miss having that challenge if all I did was really work by myself on my comics and videos. And I know some people might already argue, well, you can still work in a team and collaborate with others, working outside of the industry, doing your own project. Like, yes, it is still completely doable to just work on your own stuff in a team, or even develop a project or build your own team outside of the animation industry. However, I feel like what has stopped me from reaching to that point is just simply the fact that I feel like there are still things that I don't really know about the industry yet, and there are parts I haven't fully explored. Just knowing that I graduated in 2018 and it's only been 2 to 3 years, I feel like I haven't really dived deep enough into this industry to really be that confident about not liking it that much to quit it, I guess. So yeah, I guess I'm just pretty much saying that I'm enjoying my time growing in the industry right now. There are parts of it I don't know about, and I would like to get to know about it more. I also just have to remind myself that this is what I've wanted to do ever since I was a little kid. So learning to know when to put that boundary on when is enough to constantly seeking what's the next better thing is something that I'm trying to be better at. I'm also aware that it's kind of a trend on social media now where it's the thing to quit your day job or quit your 9 to 5. And I think it's great for anyone who has been seeking that option, and now it's been finally made an option, especially knowing that in the past people just worked traditional corporate jobs or retail jobs, or jobs that just did not allow you to really express who you are or do what it is that you love. So I think it's great that more options are being provided for people in that realm now. However, I don't really like it when people start trashing on 9 to 5 jobs and they just talk about why every single 9 to 5 job is super shitty and why you'll hate your life if you're just working your 9 to 5 job. But then at the same time, it's like, well, when you pursue your own project, aren't you still going to be working from 9 to 5? I feel like it can even be a little bit pressuring on some people who are currently working a job that might not be where they want to be at the end of the day. But at the same time, it might add an additional pressure on them to just be like, hey, you're doing something that you don't like, and you should be doing something that you love, which means that right now, while you're working at that job that you don't like, you're doing something wrong. I just feel like it's a super black and white way to view things, even as someone who is now working a full-time job in art or the animation industry, which is something that I've dreamed of doing for a long time. I still feel like I sometimes get that pressure from other people or just the world or things that I read saying that, like, oh, you should just still quit your job and pursue your own projects and whatnot because the industry is gonna screw you over. In which, to some degree, yeah, that's true in some cases. And just to play devil's advocate, even if you do leave your job to pursue your own thing, that doesn't mean that you're going to be totally freed from control from either another person, another system, or another societal expectation. You're still going to have some level of control by someone else that is not you, whether if you are working in an industry job or not. That could be now your audience. You could be relying on the algorithm. You could be relying on an investor. I don't know. There are just other things that are now going to come into the picture that might control whatever it is that you wanted to do. So what I'm trying to say pretty much is that I don't think people should naively just start quitting their jobs and just hope they suddenly land a job in art or animation or whatever dream job it is that you're dreaming of. I think that it is very romantic and it's very ideal, and to hope that if you just quit your job and you can suddenly land a new job in a new industry, that would be great. And if it happens to you, congratulations. However, that is not the reality for everyone. And I think that people should realize that sometimes it's just good to be in a place where even though you don't love your full-time job or whatever, it's still helping you in a way. So that's another question that some people ask me, is if they should quit their job or quit whatever industry they're in right now and hop immediately into animation. And my answer to that is no, I don't think so. Like, yes, I think you should be actively trying to pursue things within animation, but while you're still in that job, so that it's a more gradual transition. You know, that might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm just speaking off of a recommendation that I would personally take, just because it's going to be hard to really financially support yourself if you don't have that support from your family or friends. So in that case, I think it's good to kind of just rely on whatever job it is you're in right now as your source of funds, just to be able to use that to either study art, learn it on the side, and just spend that time job hunting so that you're not under pressure to think about where you're living or what you're eating or just, you know, things to survive. I don't want any of my bitches to ever have to come down to that. So you might be wondering, how do I study art or do those things then if I don't have time because of my full-time job? That kind of comes down to more of a time management talk, in which I can talk about in another video. That is another big topic. But as of now, I feel like for those who are very willing to want to switch into another career, there's always a way to just squeeze in either 5 to 10 minutes of your day drawing something that you see right next to you or a person that's near you. And for anyone who might be in a situation more similar to mine, where it's like you're already working full time, but in the art industry or within an industry that you've been wanting to be in, and you're questioning whether or not if you should quit that industry and leave to do your own thing, I think that ultimately just comes down to a preference. Because for me, working in animation luckily gives me that flexibility to have a hiatus every now and again, just in between projects. So I do get that time to experience just working on my own thing once in a while. But I know not every industry is like that, and I think it really is up to you. But my rule of thumb is to just know that there's going to be a point in life where you're just gonna have to be happy with where you're at. You're always going to be dreaming about the next better thing. You're always going to be wanting something better than what you have right now. But sometimes it's just important to remember that you're in a place that you've always wanted to be in years ago, and just appreciate that. So yeah, just because there's a trend happening on social media where everyone's quitting their job to pursue their dreams is happening doesn't mean that everyone should just do it. I think that sometimes it's good to just even be in the in-between, and that's where I feel like I'm at right now, where I feel like I like getting the best of both worlds, where I'm in an industry but I'm also doing my own thing. Whether or not if that changes in the future, I feel like at least I've prepared for that to some level. But again, it's not in my plans right now, but I am aware that people change, I might change, and hey, if it does happen, well, I already got some of it started, and that's kind of a nice thing about diversifying the things that you work on. Anyway, for any of you wondering what I've been working on in this comic, because it has totally no correlation to what I've discussed in this video, it's actually a comic about my relationship with Asian or Chinese food growing up as a kid, and just how people bullied you over that when you're younger, but now that you're older, everyone thinks it's so cool and hip and trendy, and then you get bitter about it because you were bullied over this as a child. But then instead of staying bitter about it, you learn to coexist and mutually bond over it with others and share it instead of just being annoyed about it, I guess. But yeah, this was a comic for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, so happy AAPI Heritage Month. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it provides some insight, and I will see you all in the next one. So peace out and stay wholesome, bitches.